Good morning, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and I'm going to be talking about my 125,000 views. I always like making a video of my landmarks. When I achieve another goal, then I have to make a video about it, just to let you know what kind of progress I'm making. It's sort of like riding the YouTube train and showing you the next step on the tracks. So now you've seen where I'm going with this, so on and so forth. I want to thank all my viewers for continuing to watch me and continue to be a part of this. A lot of people, they come to me and they say, well, why don't you ever talk about puppy dogs and kitty cats and all these little... First of all, I don't have kids, so I don't talk about kids. But why don't you do all this stuff? Well, let me tell you something. Rainbows and puppy dogs and kitty cats and whatever, they're nice, whatever. But when you see so many posts like that on Facebook, and it's not like that I don't like seeing posts like that, it's just that when you see so many, they become redundant and they also become boring. So, it's not that I don't appreciate it, it's just, wow, that's too much. Let me tell you something, when you stuff 7 slices of pizza down your throat, that's too much. You can't have too much of a good thing, and when you're doing that, that's too much. So, I say to you, don't you guys do anything else? It's wonderful what you're doing, but it's just like, don't you guys do anything else? So, in honor of those who want to see me do something with rainbows and puppy dogs and kitty cats, I will tell you about the Hunger Games. Yes, I have read it. I have also read the second book in the series called Catching Fire. Thought I'd do a brief book review. I have read all 7 volumes of the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, and I always measure up books based against that. I can tell you there is nothing like the Dark Tower. If you ever get hold of that, you will find out there's really nothing like it. I'm even kind of insulted at Stephen King's other books because I found the Dark Tower to be a lot better than those books were. I think he did a much better job writing the Dark Tower than he ever did in It, Pet Sematary, any of those. Okay. So, that's my response to that. Now, as for the Hunger Games, I consider it a very close second. I really do. It involved a Katniss Everdeen. Now, for those of you who say, oh, you never really read the book. Really? I'm going to prove that right now. I know all about President Snow. I know all about Effie. I know about Peeta. I know about Gale. Okay. I know about the electric fence that was turned on part of the time and not turned on the other part of the time. I know about Katniss and her father dying in the mines, and she's going out and hunting on a regular basis. She has a little sister named Prim and a mother that heals people with all these little herbal remedies type thing. I know all of this, plus I know how she ended up getting the Hunger Games in the first place. The first Hunger Games was held in this, well, the first one that she was in was held in this forest thing. She did something very clever with a wasp nest, so that she knocked off some of her competitors. You'll have to read about that if you really want to know, because I'm not spoiling this for you. I thought it was kind of clever what she did with the, when she flung that out. Now, that's one thing. She didn't have arrows right off the bat. That's something they show on these magazine covers. No, she did not have arrows right off the bat in the contest. She did get them, but she didn't have them right off the bat. So, it was kind of clever when she got the arrows, when she shot that apple bag and made all those supplies disappear. Yeah, you'll have to read about how she pulled that one off, because I'm not telling you all that. And I also remember how she really got involved with Peeta, and the nasty little trick that Katniss and Peeta pulled off at the end of the Hunger Games, which caused them both to live. That was kind of a cool trick, I have to say. She is a real whippersnapper when it comes to that kind of stuff. The second book, which is Catching Fire, I read this yesterday, which is something I wanted to tell Booball 1067. I'm sorry I haven't got to your materials yet. I will. Bear with me. I just had an incredibly long week, and by the time I got finished, I pretty much crashed yesterday, but when I did manage to wake up, I did take the time to read this Catching Fire, since I had already finished the Hunger Games. But anyway, getting back to Catching Fire, I know all about the President Snow showing up at Victory Village and talking to Katniss, and I also know how she got caught behind the fence, and so she had to climb a tree, and I know how she got injured. Okay, I also know how she ended up getting a whip in her face. So yes, I have read the book. Also, I know about how they toured and the slip-up that Peeta made and the slip-up that Katniss made when they were talking to District 11, which caused people to want to revolt. And you'll have to read about all that in order to find out what's going on. I know how they replaced all the peacekeepers. I also know how they were trying to set up for this wedding, and then all of a sudden, the President Snow pulled a dirty trick, which got Katniss put back in the Hunger Games, which this time happened on a beach, and it was pretty deadly, I can tell you that. And I know about the unusual plot twist that got her and some of the other contestants of the second Hunger Games rescued, so on and so forth. Yeah, I read all about the barbed wire, so I know all about that. So anyway, all this stuff's going on. I read about it. And so obviously I've read both of them. When I compare the Hunger Games and Catching Fire to the Dark Tower, I would say they were at a close second. They are not the Dark Tower at all. Okay, there is nothing like Roland Deschain and how he faced off with a 20-foot mechanical grizzly bear named Char, or how he ended up on a psychopathic train trying to tell riddles that would get the train to be stumped and stop before it crashed, so on and so forth. So I know all about that as well. But when it comes to Hunger Games, if you want a book that will increase the self-esteem of young ladies, there you go. I have to say, fantastic book, easy reading. I read this one in less than a week. I actually read this whole thing Saturday night, which was last night. I read it all. So, yes, good books. I will say, though, that I have seen people, they'll say, well, I don't read. Well, this time you really missed out. Okay, you don't read, you really missed out. And let me tell you something. You keep not reading and you're end up without a job either. And that's something else that needs to be addressed. I work in retail. I had a lady come into my establishment, and she brought in a Lady Vuitton purse. And what was the first thing she pulled out of the Lady Vuitton purse? A SNAP card. Now, how did you acquire a Lady Vuitton purse and have a SNAP card? I really would like to know that. I can tell you, you don't get Lady Vuitton purses at the Goodwill. It doesn't happen. The Salvation Army does not regularly sell Lady Vuitton purses. So what I'm wondering here is how in the world you got yourself a SNAP card. That's just like the lady. She won $1 million and then she started applying for public aid. My answer to that is, what's wrong with our system? We need to fix it. So I'm here presenting all this wonderful education to you guys so you all can get back to work. I want to institute workfare, not welfare. Get sick of welfare, and one of these days, when workfare is fully set up, then we're going to be dealing with welfare. As I have said before in some other videos, and I know a lot of people are saying, well, why do you say certain things over and over again in your videos? The reason I say them is because some people will watch one video but not another. And there you go. So, some people watch one video and maybe miss something that I've said in that video because they watch this other video instead, and I don't get the message across. So, there you are, there you have it, that's the reason why. So I will say it again, there are people out there that are Minnie the Moochers. These are people that are leeches. They have no intentions whatsoever of improving their lives. And so my mission is to get everybody else off of these unemployment rules, off the SNAP cards, so on and so forth, by educating them, getting them back to work, and then leaving only the Minnie the Moochers behind for their SNAP cards and everything else. Then we're going to deal with them. Okay, and they're not, and these Minnie the Moochers are not going to like me too much. Let me tell you something, Bambi had enemies, and I can tell you I'm not the most popular kid in school either. A lot of people like me, there are some people who don't. And for those who don't, I'm sorry, that's too bad. Now, if anybody's asking any questions about my theology, That's just something else that's been brought up. You say, well, you don't make a whole lot of theological videos. The reason I don't really press it on any people, is because so many others have done that, and it just drives people away. That's not what I'm here to do, is to drive people away. I know sometimes I do. That's too bad. But I'm not trying to drive people away. Okay? One of the things that I had seen on Facebook was there was a sign, and somebody had taken a picture of it, and they were asking about comments about it. Well, they said, well, if you don't like smoking, don't smoke. You don't like drinking, don't drink. Well, let me tell you something. Okay? I think if people don't like smoking, they should establish family-friendly establishments to say, we're not going to smoke here. You can have your bar, you can have your smoking over there, or we're not going to do it here. And let everybody have a choice. It's just like in the Bible here. There's a story about Elijah, and it's in the Old Testament, and Elijah had built an altar to this God, the God of the Bible, and he built an altar, and he doused it with tons of water. Now, the Baal worshippers, they built an altar to Baal. They didn't even douse theirs with water at all. They just built a dry altar. And what happened was that the God of this Bible set a big old firestorm right down onto Elijah's altar and lit it up until it was lighting up the night. And then this God of the Bible told Elijah to tell the God worshippers to knock off all the Baal worshippers. Now, that was kind of a necessity back in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, it's not quite so. Okay? The God of this book says, hey, listen, I'm going to relieve the pressure off of you. I don't want you knocking off anybody right now, okay? If I feel you have to knock somebody off, I'll tell you. But otherwise, just pretty much don't do it. The reason is that I have more effective ways of doing it. Now people are more literate. They're more sophisticated. So let's lay off on the knocking people off. If I want somebody knocked off, I'll do it myself. I don't answer to human government. Let me tell you something. If God wants somebody knocked off, He can do it. He can do it. All by himself. He doesn't answer to anybody. He doesn't answer to the President of the United States. He doesn't answer to any government whatsoever. He says, I am God. I'll do what I want. Okay? So if God wants to knock somebody off, let Him do it. Otherwise, just don't worry about that. You say, well, how do we fight Arab terrorists? Okay? We have to fight Arab terrorists. Here's how you fight back. You fight back by building churches across the street from their mosques. You fight back by carrying one of these. That's right, just carry it, and you're fighting back. Put on your lapels the Star of David and the crucifix and the menorah. That's the way to fight back. Read this thing. Read this book. You're fighting back when you read this book. Pray to this God. You're fighting back. Go to the library, get yourself exceedingly educated, become a scholar. You're fighting back. If you do those kind of things, then you're fighting back. You don't have to beat anybody up. You don't have to torment people. You don't have to torture them. You don't have nothing. Like I said, if you really want to fight back, shoot, if you own a shop, it's your shop. Put a menorah in the window. Put a Star of David on your sign. Put a crucifix on your window. You're allowed to do that. It's your shop. It's your private business. You do it. Okay? That'll do more to an Arab terrorist than any pistol, any rifle, or any fist could ever do. You don't have to beat people up, and you don't have to shoot them because they don't believe in your God. Okay? This God will take care of the terrorists if He needs to. Shoot, if this God could put a can of worms in a guy's stomach and eat him alive while he's making his boastful presentations, this God does not need your help in knocking off an Arab terrorist. He should just do one thing. Read this and display your Christianity every way you can. And don't worry about the rest. I'll take care of it. That's the God and Jesus of this Bible. Feel the joy of the Lord and share it with all, and you will do far more damage to an Arab terrorist than if you were to actually shoot them or beat them up. That's how you win. So, there's your lesson. You don't have to beat people up. You don't have to shoot them. Just display this, and you will do more harm than anything else you could do. So, do what God says. Just be smart. Drive the librarians nuts. Read this. Pray to this God. Display your Christianity, and leave the rest to God himself. Let him handle it. Remember that the God of this Bible doesn't answer to any human government. So he'll do whatever it takes. Now, the final thing that I'm going to talk about in this video is about Kony 2012. I am not going to retract what I said about the first 3 minutes of that guy's video. He was wrong. That was that. You don't believe me? You can watch my 3-part response, and you'll find out how wrong the guy was. Okay, I had some very valid points, and I don't care if anybody believes them or not. I had the valid points. Period. Now, that does not mean I don't support his charity. Okay? He wants to run a charity, that's fine. I have no problem with it. But you cannot make blanketed generalizations like that and get away with it. It doesn't work. I'll catch it, and I'll say it. Now, I will make one other note. Booball1067 had sent me some material. I'm going to review it, and then I'll cover it. There was also some material I got from her about the JFK assassination that I will eventually cover. But I do want to bring this up. The co-founder of the Invisible Children Foundation, which is the ones that put up that Kony 2012, he was outside in his birthday suit giving hand gestures that were not family friendly. So you begin to wonder what kind of a charity this is if the co-founder does this kind of stuff. He's acting really weirdo and bizarre and so on and so forth. So therefore, you really kind of have to wonder about that. Anyway, I'll give you more data about that in an upcoming video. In the meantime, I hope everybody here has a good day. And I hope you learned something from this. This is what this channel is all about, learning things. I hope you guys actually do read The Hunger Games. I hope you guys also read The Dark Tower. And hopefully you guys will start reading this book. Right here. Start praying to this God. And start displaying your theology proudly. Now, I will say one last thing. I've heard a lot of talk about what President Obama is going to do to the educational system. I hope he does. Let him do it. Okay? But in the meantime, whether he does anything for education or he doesn't do it, it doesn't matter. I go by what John F. Kennedy said. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Therefore, I am going to continue making these educational videos, and I'm going to try to keep putting people back to work. If he does something great, that's fine. If he doesn't, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me either way. We're going to continue educating people right here on YouTube. We're not going to wait around for him. Okay? That's just the way it works. If he wants to do something, that's fine. We just don't have the time to wait. It's that simple. So, like I said, I'm just going to continue educating people, and that's the way it's going to work. Alright, people. I will tell you more in a future video, so I want you to stay tuned.